Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rugby with Pads. I'm your host, Sam, and today we're talking NFC South. An interesting division this year. We saw a lot of change going in to this year, especially in the Buccaneers with the change of coaches. New yet again Baker with a new offensive coordinator. It's like he can't hold on to them, but let's see how this pans out. We are doing tier-based analysis of all the players that you should be aware of for fantasy, and at the end we will be doing a bit of a roundup of all these guys and taking a look at who we want to draft. So let's start off, as we've been to on, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I've already mentioned Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is great. If you look at him last year and you compare him to Burrow, you want either of them. They're great. And he could be a locked-in QB1 if he had Liam Cohen. But at the moment, I think I see him as a league winner. Because if he gets hot, if all the things happen, and we'll look at the wide receiver room in a minute, these things can happen. He can be fantastic. There will definitely be some regression to the mean. 100%. And we look at his stats. Last year is an outlier. 4,500 yards. Wow, that's a lot. 41 touchdowns. If you can get 35 out of him at a similar kind of clip, you'd be amazing. I think they were struggling last year, mainly because the defensive battle was not being won, so he was being put in situations. But he has matured. He has got some great weapons around him, and Baker could definitely be that guy. The wide receiver room is so much to talk about. There are so many guys that I love. Can I put any of them in the elite hands position? No, I can't. But there are so many guys I really love. Mike Evans, I think, is going to get written off, mainly because of age. But how many seasons do you think it's been he's gone 1,000 yards? Let's have a quick look. I think it's 11 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 indeed. Only got it by 4 yards last season in 14 games, but what an accomplishment. The man is so good, and he's so consistent on touchdowns as well. He gets an average of 9.5 touchdowns a season. He is someone I'm going to want there. And yes, you're going to write him off because he's going to be 32 this year. But I still think he's fantastic. And another guy who I think is fantastic as well, who could definitely be a league winner, is Chris Godwin. A little bit younger, a little bit different. Obviously, got injured and had trouble coming back. Is he going to be able to come back? Yes, I do think he will do. And I think he will be so fantastic. There was talk about him being traded for a second, so other teams value him, and I really do think he could be the XY combination. He's like these guys are like the Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and you wanted a piece of that offense. You still want a piece of this offense. Outside of that, though, it's a really interesting set of groups. I think you've got a really interesting breakout potential for A.K.A. I think he will be the third guy who will be there. I don't think it'll be Jalen McMillan. I don't think it'll be Sterling Shepard. It could be any of these guys, but I still think A.K.A. will be the guy you want to think about in as a sleeper. Out of all of the... And it was surprising because I think the draft stock was relatively high. I think he was drafted in the first. Let's have a quick look. He was drafted in the first, pick 19. I think a lot of people were not suspecting him to. I mean, you've got to follow the draft capital sometimes, and he is a fantastic player on tape. I think he'll be a fantastic player in the stat sheets as well. Running back, I think I would love to put another game changer in here in Bucky Irving because the hype is so much around him. But Bucky is I think he's locked down the RB1 position. Yes, he's a little bit undersized, but I think you've seen from A-Chain and other players, A-Chan, sorry, and other players, you can be undersized and still be fantastic. Rashad White is the best handcuff out there. I probably said someone else is the best handcuff, but, well, best handcuff in this team at the very least. You've got a fantastic pairing there, and I would be looking at Bucky Irving going very high in drafts. Probably too high for my liking, but still very good. And if we think about last year and you ask who was the number one target for Baker Mayfield, you'd be quite surprised, but it wasn't K. Dotton. But sorry, leading down the garden path there. But he was really consistent, and he remains consistent. And once again, this is where I'm putting a lot of guys because the tiers kind of drop off quite quickly in tight end. K. Dotton goes into my flex group, but he is a fantastic player nonetheless, and still relatively young. Yeah, it's a good team, and this is nice. It's a palate cleanser because after speaking about the AFC South, where there was nothing palate cleansing there, it's nice to talk about a good team who are good offensively. But let's talk about a team who will be naff, but we'll still have some good players. Tyler Shock. Yeah, Spencer Rattler. I don't know who it's going to be. It's probably going to be Shock. But still, I'm not really convinced he will be anything useful there. Running back, I still think you have a potential league winner in Kamara. He's not a locked-in guy because they have drafted people behind him. They've drafted Devin Neal. They've got a second rounder from a few years ago in Kendrick Miller. Cam Akers has been brought on there. Those guys are handcuffs. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm probably going to ignore them though, because none of them have the pass catching potential of Alvin Kamara. And if you think you're putting rookie or second year quarterback with Kamara, they're going to throw to Kamara so much. He is still their number one weapon. Yes, he's getting a bit on 29-30, but he's still fantastic. I'm going to put that in Chris Olave as well. Chris Olave is a potential league winner. Yes, his brain is basically mush out of because of all the CTE hits he's taken, but I still think he could be fantastic. He's so talented, and given maybe the looks in the investment they've had in the offensive line, I think it's really interesting position for him. Elsewhere, Brandon Cooks. Being the guy who keeps getting passed around, he is not someone I'm thinking of. He will appear in a few games. I think we'll probably see a fair few 2 wide receiver sets, 12 personnel. So we'll get some more tight ends on there as well, doing some blocking for Tyler Shuck, which means Jawan Johnson, skipping into tight end world, could be interesting. I think he's still relatively ignored. And let's have a quick look at his stats, because he's one of those guys who got paid a lot of money. I'm not really sure what he does, but 558 yards last year, 3 touchdowns. He's not really dependable, so he can't go into anything else but sleeper. But what they say about tight ends and first-year quarterbacks, they're the best of bedfellows. I don't know what they say. Maybe I'm just making that up. Jawan Johnson has sleeper potential at the tight end position, whilst Rashid Shaheed, I think, has field stretching potential at the wide receiver position, so he's going in my sleeper bracket there. Everyone else, Cedric Wilson, Bub Means, there's some names, but these guys are just Jags, and by that I don't mean Jacksonville Jaguars, I mean just a guy. The Atlanta Falcons has some interesting prospects, and I think Michael Penix Jr. could be that guy. I am going to go out there and say I think he could be a league winner, and I don't know why, but I just feel it. The stats don't show it. Let's have a look at the stats. I think he played 4 games last year. In terms of starts, yeah, he had some ability, completion percent 58. But if you saw some of the throws he made and the composure he had in limited value, he's had a full off-season program. He'll have a full preseason program. I just think he's going to be great. And if you think about the talent he has around him, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts. Do we want to go down that way again? Yeah, maybe. I think he could be fantastic. And they've invested in the defense, less pressure on him. I think he is going to be able to make all the throws. I just like him. That's going to be my outlier from a lot of other people's opinions, but I'm not subscribing to groupthink on Michael Penix Jr. I think he is going to be considerably better. In the running back room, if I'm putting Gibbs in there, I've got to put Bijan in there. I really do think he is going to be absolutely fantastic. So Bijan is going to be my second game changer. I think he will break free of the fabulous handcuff and potentially standalone value of Tyler Algier. Is that his pronoun? Algier. There's too many E's and I's and R's in there. I don't know. Yeah, I think he will just break free. You know the talent. Number 8 overall pick. He's shown it. He's going to be great, and I think he'll just get more and more opportunity as he matures into the game as well. At wide receiver, I've already talked about Drake London. I think he's going to be fantastic. He, for me, is a locked-in wide receiver 1. And I don't know whether stats prove that, but this is my rankings. I'm allowed to do what I want. That's not Bijan Robinson. I didn't want him. I want Drake London. Let's have a look at him here. 100 receptions last year, so PPR machine there. That's amazing. 158 targets, 9 touchdowns. So he's not touchdown dependent. He is volume dependent, and that's what you want out of a locked-in wide receiver 1. So put him in there. Darnell Mooney, I think, is a really interesting prospect. He's been kicking around the league for a little while now, obviously in Chicago. Last year, nearly 1,000 yards for Atlanta. He is... if he breaks out, he's... I was listening to the Fantasy Footballers the other day, and they were talking about taking your fantasy vegetables. His vegetables. He's not the flashy stuff. He's not the steak on your plate. He's not a Bijan Robinson. He's not a Mike Evans. He's not anything like that. But he has such good potential. And even with Drake London having a season that he had last year, I think Darnell Mooney could still be that guy. And I think in the place you're going to get him, he could be a league winner. So he's going to go in my league winner pile. This is a great team, and I'm just enthused about the Falcons until they eventually falcon it. Anyone else there I'm not particularly interested in. Ray McLeod is a handcuff at best, but I'm kind of ignoring him in that as well. You know, don't be fooled. And am I ignoring Kyle Pitts? No, I can't. But Kyle Pitts will always have sleeper potential. He's never shown it though. First season, 1,000 yards, 1 touchdown. Never got more than 4. But hey, how about this for a stat? First year, 1 touchdown. Second year, 2 touchdowns. Third year, guess what? 3 touchdowns. Fourth year, 4 touchdowns, but a low on yardage. Yeah. It's balancing out a bit. So I'm predicting this year he's going to have 5 touchdowns and like 400 yards or something like that. Not someone I'm interested in, but he does have sleeper potential. But I think that the offense runs through those 2 wide receivers. So he's got sleeper at best. Do not draft him as your first. He's your second. Let someone else make that mistake and go forward. But the Falcons, I think, is just on average better than the Saints. And they're not as good as the Buccaneers by any means, because I think the Buccaneers are far more well-rounded. But it's not far off. Not far off, guys. And Panthers have a lot of interest for me. Once again, it hasn't shown me the full roster here. I don't know why it does this sometimes, but I'll have to go back into it and let's take a look at them. No, it's not showing me the full roster at all. Having technical difficulty here, guys. Apologies for this. ESPN has decided not to fill out anyone, but we can talk about who we've got. So let's think about Panthers roster. Let's start from the top, and we are thinking about. I'll go by Q position here. We're thinking about Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is now the wide receiver 1. His 3rd year in the league now. Sorry, QB1 officially. Has he got anything more than late streamer value? No, I haven't seen him put it together in more than 5 games in a row. So unfortunately, although I see a lot of potential for him, does he have the physical and mental talents to be able to go beyond there? I do not think so. Running back, I do really like Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard has been silently making a really great waves, and he is a potential league winner at the running back position. He's fantastic. Everyone else, I'm not particularly interested in. Rico Dowdle, Raheem Blackshear. It's going to be one of those guys, but we're looking at potential, ignored value here. Yeah, there's no one here who I'm going to recommend you go out and draft, or I'm going to pay attention to, or actually put in my list here. Wide receiver room is different though. Xavier Legette has not performed. Do I think he could break out? Of course I do. I think he's going to be fantastic. I think he has such fantastic opportunity. But I think you could be looking at a connection with Tetairoa McMillan. I'm going to put T-Mac, as he likes to be called, not Tracy McGrady, but Tetairoa McMillan. That's a different sport if you want about basketball. He could be a league winner. I really do think he could. And I think he could have that wide receiver 1 breakout. But there's a lot of guys here who I'd see having a lot of value. Jalen Coker, as an undrafted free agent, has built himself up over the last couple of years. I talked about Xavier Legette. I do think he could be a potential sleeper. Because he's got the physical talents to do it. And of course, you've got guys like Adam Thielen and Hunter Renfrow. Adam Thielen could be that guy. Hunter Renfrow could be that guy. I'm kind of on the face of ignoring one of them potentially. Whether Hunter Renfro's been out for a little while, so unfortunately I'm going to be ignoring him for the time being. But I am interested to see if Adam Thielen, in what must be his last season, can make it work. Do I see him as being more of a player coach potentially? But does he have opportunity? Yes, he does. Any one of these guys could jump up into flex value. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but I definitely don't think it'll be anyone from the tight end position here. Jatavion Sanders, let's have a quick look at him and his stats over the last year. Rookie season last year, 33 receptions, 1 touchdown. Doesn't jump out to me as a dominant performance here. Elsewhere, you've got Mitchell Evans. I think, is he the guy who converted from basketball, or is that Bryce Pierce? I don't know who it is here. But you've got a bunch of guys here. Tommy Tremble doesn't really do anything for me. I'm ignoring the Panthers tight ends here. None of them get the juices flowing, get the creative mind going. But yeah, that's it. But Panthers are probably one of the more disappointing sides, although I do see flashes of brilliance out of them. So let's go through, guys. At quarterback, I think you have 2 potential league winners in the NFC South: Baker Mayfield and Penix. Penix being my rogue pick here, but everyone else is a streamer. Shuck, Rattler, Bryce Young, whoever it is, you don't want to roster them for too long. The running back position is stacked in the NFC South. Bijan being a super game changer, Bucky Irving being just behind that, Kamara being a potential league winner from the age 30 position, Chuba Hubbard silently doing work, but you know the name recognition isn't there, but the performance really is. Algier having standalone value and definitely as a very high performing handcuff, and Rashad White being again another brilliant handcuff and potentially having flex value in PPR as well as a third down running back. At wide receiver, there is no one who I can say has elite hands, and I think because you're having to spread the ball around so much. But the number one guy I like out of this is Drake London. I'm going for him. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think, have equal opportunity to be a league winner. Chris Olave, providing he can stay healthy, the offense should run through him. Darnell Mooney has shown time and time again that he should not be doubted. Eat your fancy vegetables. I think he'd be great. And T-Mac as the rookie, he's better than a sleeper. I've got to put him in that league winner category. There's no one who I can reliably say, because any of those guys could go up or could go down. So no one who I could reliably say will be a flex or value position here. But lots of sleepers. Emeka Egbuka, the rookie for the Buccaneers, Rashid Shaheed shows so much potential. Whether he can get the right quarterback, Tyler Shuck could be a really interesting guy with him chucking it down there. Jalen Coker, Xavier Leggett, Adam Thielen, I think all could be guys who could step up or step down depending on age and long-term talent. But I'm ignoring the likes of Brandon Cooks, Ray McLeod, Hunter Renfro. I've been hurt once before, guys, and don't let me get hurt again. Nothing to write home about in tight end. The best tight end you've got is a solid performer in K. Dotton, but he's not going to move the needle really. Jawan Johnson and Kyle Pitts have the potential with the physical talents and the people around them to do something. Whether they will or not is yet to be decided. I'm probably going to err on the side of no. But all the Panthers tight ends, there is no one there who stands out a lick. You're going to see a rotating group of blockers for someone who needs a lot of blocking in Bryce Young. And that is your lot, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Again, it was quite an interesting one doing this one. I haven't talked at great length about these players because I don't think we have all the superstars. We have 2 of the strongest divisions, in my opinion, in fantasy in the AFC and NFC West yet to come. And we'll be doing that over the next 2 episodes. But thank you so much if you listened this far. As always, you can support the pod, all socials at Rugby with Pads, rugbywithpads.com. Get yourself a membership from as little as £1 to support the pod and get yourself some discounts on merch. And there's lots of tiers, lots of things to look at there as well. But the best thing you can do is give this a like, share it with a friend, just mention it in passing, text it to someone, I don't know. Really appreciate all your support anyway. And if you have listened this far, thank you once again from me for listening to me rambling. But leaves me to say, I will see you very soon on the virtual gridiron.